It's now 55 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock on this Tobago Thursday. I'm Kimberly D'Souza. Now, in his presentation of the THA draft estimates, our Chief Secretary Fali Augustine noted that he wanted to promote Tobago as a filmmaker's destination where documentaries, soap operas and short films could be produced. And joining me to talk about proposed initiative to boost Tobago's film industry is film director at the Tobago Performing Arts Company, a writer and director himself, Mr. Jared Prima. Mr. Prima, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Hi, good morning, Kimberly, and good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
How is Tobago? You were telling me it's a bit wet, similar to what we're experiencing here back in Trinidad.
Yeah, it's very, very wet.
How did you guys deal with the, well, we didn't get the full brunt of of course, the tropical cyclone, but how did you guys battle it across the island?
Well, from all reports, we didn't get a bad hit. A few areas have had flooding, small landslides, but nothing very major. So I think we came out pretty well.
Nice. Okay, good. Good to hear. Now, I know that the Chief Secretary would have given his draft estimate. And of course, before we move on to that, what is Tobago's film industry or sector? What is the status of it as of now?
Well, I was thinking about that before I came on, and what came to mind is, you know, you make a first child, and they always ask you where the second child come in, and we are still riding on that turn of the tide. I want to say wave that happened way in the past. Even my aunt was a part of that program, and we are waiting for that new resurgence of film in Tobago. So it hasn't happened just yet. You're seeing small, more commercial type things being done. But in terms of the storytelling aspect of it, that's what the Tobago Performing Arts Company is hoping to revive in perhaps in the near future, given what we heard from our Chief Secretary.
Mr. Primer, Kimberly seems to be having some microphone issues, so I'm just going to jump in here and ask the question that she was trying to ask you, which is basically, what do you think is needed for that second child to be birthed, as you mentioned?
Hi, morning, Rockers. I think what is proposed is actually the start of what is needed. We definitely need an injection of financial support to really make this happen. But what is very critical is actually getting filmmakers on the ground to speak the same language. So we're talking about raising the level of knowledge and also understanding film protocols and also understanding what is our collective thrust. What do we really want to gain from this? So that we can kind of take this thing and give a more collected attack, for lack of a better word. So that is needed. Definitely finances, but definitely some training and us coming together and really deciding how do we want to approach the birth or the rebirth of this film industry on the island.
The training, are we talking an all-encompassing training in terms of doing both for post and pre-production?
Well, yeah, definitely. And I'm glad you're back. Definitely, we need to approach film from that sort of broad sectoral approach. We're talking pre-production and the protocols of production and post, all of them really work in sync. People don't even think about post-production until the end. Really, you should be thinking about how you want to edit when you're actually writing and creating. So we're talking about training across the full spectrum of film.
And so how do you see the Tobago Performing Arts Company actually, what do you see their role in boosting Tobago's film industry?
Well, the Tobago Performing Arts Company is charged with the responsibility of sector development and training. So this is actually precisely where we land. We're also charged with the responsibility of creating content to boost the tourism thrust, which is actually what I think our second wave of film production should be. Our second wave should really be geared towards creating content that gets, as we say, heads in beds, get people to notice our island and to come here, not just to vacation, but also to perhaps use this space as a location. And as the Chief Secretary said, a filmmaker's paradise. So the Tobago Performing Arts Company, and we already have a few initiatives already in the works in terms of masterclass training and so on. We have a lot of things. I almost let something out of the barrel I couldn't let out just yet. We have a
I was
few things.
hoping that you did. I was hoping that your mouth slipped there a little bit and let us
I
know
had
what
to
else
pull
is
back a
coming
little
up.
bit.
But I mean, so we are hearing about the training. We're hearing about, of course, making it be a filmmaker's paradise. But what else can we do to attract that foreign investment and bring some, foreign money to the island?
Well, I mean, we're talking film, and my approach is film-induced tourism. That's something that I've been kind of singing for quite a while. And let me just give you a sense of what film-induced tourism is. You will look at a movie, and the movie could be about anything. It could be a drama, it could be a comedy, but they give you these large vista shots, and they span the space, and you see these lovely exotic spaces. And subliminally, you want to go. You don't even realize it. And there are studies about this that one in every five people actually decide to go to a location because they saw it in a movie. And that is, I think, of one of our strongest approaches. Tobago is so beautiful. And we don't even need to be creating content that just says, oh, we are a tourism space. We could literally just create content that tells our stories. Our wonderful culture could be displayed. And when people see the culture and the background, these lovely locations, it will start to germinate. I need to come to Tobago.
Yeah. And so when you mention the content, I'm wondering what kind of content you think is still missing out there? Because I feel like a lot of films will focus on folklore, because of course we do have that strong tie to folklore. But what other options do you think are out there for us to produce so that people can see the beauty of Tobago?
Well, and I say that people think of culture in a linear sense. I mean, you naturally went to folklore, and folklore is a thing I love. So I'm definitely doing that. However, our way of life is actually a great story to tell. The things that we do here, we have a lot of stories to tell. I mean, Turn of the Tide, just to reference that past series, didn't really delve into folklore. I mean, probably there are a mention of a little bit of I want to call it high science, a little bit talk. However, it really just presented life on the island, and life has changed so much, and we have a chance to tell so many new stories here. In addition to really highlighting our cultural things in a very new way. I mean, I could probably whisper about this one that we are in talks to create a documentary that really celebrates our mud mass here on the island, being one of the things that we celebrate in Tobago. Mud is life. So that is something that is in the works, and that is an example of what we can do, because you know that documentaries are really big right now on Netflix and different platforms. So we have different formats and different approaches that we can take to creating content that really sells Tobago, Trinidad, and Tobago, and of course brings people here.
Nice. And Mr. Prima, as it relates to you, I mean, are you working on any new projects, any new things we can look forward to from you, of course, and then from, of course, the Tobago Film Performing Arts Company?
Well, the projects in Tobago Performance Arts Company have to keep quiet, so that one I can't speak to just yet.
Well, tell me about
I
yours
have
then.
right. So I have a few things in the works. Way back when I did Redman, that did pretty well at the Tobago, the Trinidad Tobago Film Festival, and also in Jamaica. I'm working on a Redman too, still dealing with colorism, but from a different perspective. And then I'm also working on, and this one is a little more cultural, but it kind of pushes the realm of that high science and what people do to trap significant others, but a very different approach to that film, and it's called Sweat. So that's also coming up.
Nice. And finally, Mr. Primer, anything you want to add, anything you want to tell the country just about, helping to boost the revenue and to make Tobago that really, really important and critical filmmakers' paradise?
Well, let me say something that is not necessarily very popular, but it was some interesting research I found that UNESCO actually said that the orange economy and the creative sector is actually ready to outpace all other sectors, including oil and gas. So what we're saying is that we definitely need to really inject more support, and this is of course across the country. Inject more support into the creative and performing arts. This is a cash cow that we have been sleeping on, and we perhaps need to now awaken ourselves and really give proper effort towards developing the orange economy, and we will really see a boost.
Nice. Well, Mr. Prima, as always, thank you so much for joining us on the Now Morning Show, and I'm going to keep up to date to hear what's going on, of course, with the company, since you didn't want to tell us, and of course, on your personal projects as well.
Thank you very much.
Of course. And that was Mr. Jared Prima, who is the film director and also the director of the Tobago Performing Arts Company, just sharing his views on the takeaways that would have been announced during the THA draft estimate that was presented by Chief Secretary Farley Augustine.